Josh Wooten is being rushed into the ER, having suffered a full relapse of a mysterious disorder that's stopping him from breathing. But as doctors fight to get air into his lungs, Josh becomes hysterical.
And he's just hitting and kicking, and his legs and arms are just going and going and going. And nobody had done a thing. And he's just going crazy, you know. Stop it! Oh.
The hospital's senior lung specialist, Dr. Martha Morse, has no choice but to intubate him.
Okay, let's intubate him. Draw up some Versed, and I'll need a number 7 too.
It became obvious that we were going to have to take over his breathing for him because he wasn't doing it.
For Josh's parents, James and Vanessa, it's history repeating itself.
When they have to intubate him, that's life support. That's him not breathing on his own anymore.
Joshua, I'm going to need you to be a very brave boy for me right now.
I just don't know if I can go through all this again.
I just mentioned you got your time.
Man, I can't believe this, that he's going through this again, because I didn't want him back in the hospital.
That boy, I need you to breathe deep, and I need you to calm down.
I didn't know what to do, and there was nothing I could do myself, so I felt real helpless again.
Good boy. Let's see.
Dr. Morse is convinced that Josh's mysterious brain dysfunction has returned.
We had ruled out other causes. His lungs themselves appeared normal. His strength was normal. He just did not breathe. And that said, there's something in his brainstem that he's not sensing the desire to breathe.
But she's no proof that the brain is the problem.
I don't like it when I don't understand what's wrong with the patient. And here I had an 8-year-old boy that seemingly was normal and still no answers to it. Nothing added up right.
Dr. Morse has just one lead. When Josh was admitted, the level of carbon dioxide in his blood was double that of a healthy child's, yet it didn't seem to bother him. This gets her thinking. Rising levels of CO2 are the body's natural trigger to take a breath. Could it be possible that Josh's brain is not registering the CO2 in his bloodstream? Dr. Morse decides to try a little experiment. She turns down Josh's ventilator for a few seconds and observes what happens.
His carbon dioxides could be up to 50 or 60, where normal would be 35 to 45, and it didn't seem to bother him.
You all right? Yes. You don't feel strange or anything?
You or I would feel like we were suffocating, and he's just sitting there smiling at you, not breathing.
It's a breakthrough. For some reason, Josh's brain is not telling his body to breathe. But in her 20 years in medicine, Dr. Morse has never seen anything like this before.
I am searching for answers and trying to think, who could I go to that might have seen somebody like that? Who could give me a clue?
Hoping that some other doctor may have come across this, Dr. Morse publishes Josh's case history on a medical research network.
I started feeling their frustration because they thought they had it. They thought they had him on the road to recovery and that they were witnessing a miracle. And now he's back. And he's back to, square one almost. Surely somebody else out there's got this. Somebody else has had to have this happen to them. I mean, he can't be the only one in the whole world.
We weren't going forward with this anymore. It seemed like every time we thought something was happening and we were going forward with it, we'd get knocked back a couple of steps.
I didn't know what I was going to do with this child since he was obviously requiring a ventilator. I knew that I was going to have to be the person that would take care of him.
Suddenly, there's a response to Dr. Morse's email. Dr. Weiss Mayer, a respiratory specialist in Chicago, has seen this problem before. She believes Josh has a syndrome called ROHAD. The condition is so rare, he's only the 23rd person in the world to be diagnosed.
It was a eureka moment. I was so excited. I thought, this is Josh.
The disorder involves an area deep in the brain called the hypothalamus. This gland helps to regulate a number of bodily functions, including respiratory activity. What triggers ROHAD is still unexplained. but in Josh's case, it was most likely set off by his throat infection. For unknown reasons, his immune system started to attack his brain. While the steroid treatment repaired the damaged myelin, the syndrome continued attacking the hypothalamus. By the end of the summer, this caused Josh to stop breathing. After her initial elation, Dr. Morse realizes Rohat has no cure.
Excuse me.
And she must give Vanessa some grave news.
Dr. Morse took us up into another room and said, all right, we need to have a serious talk now. This is going to be something big.
Now, I know some doctors have talked to you about this and that there is hope that Josh is going to recover. Right now, there is no sign that Josh will have the ability to breathe on his own again.
Part of it was that, he's going to have something breathing for him. Basically from now on.
He will have
It
this.
means Josh will need to be attached to a ventilator 24 hours a day.
That was still hard. Because then all of a sudden you do have the realization of, wow, it's not going to go back to being normal. That summer we thought we were normal. That's as close to normal as we were going to see again. It would never be 100%.
In order for the ventilator to feed air direct to his lungs, Josh must first receive a tracheotomy. The surgery involves fitting an air tube directly into his throat.
This could be something that'll affect him for the rest of his life. So yes, it was very difficult.
We're ready for the tracheostomy too?
For Josh, a new way of life is just beginning.
What he doesn't understand is when he's asleep, those machines go off. And we don't wake up for whatever reason, and we don't go see about it. I mean, he could die. I mean, today, this night, he could die. If we just don't happen to hear. And that's hard.
Today, 2 years after the operation, Josh remains on the ventilator. But there is hope for his future. Dr. Morse wants to fit Josh with a device called a diaphragmatic pacemaker that would stimulate his body to breathe automatically.
A diaphragmatic pacer would allow him freedom from a ventilator and from a tracheostomy too, and go about life more normally.
You want him to have hope, and you want him to see a future where he's going to be normal. Okay?
I just try to be strong for him. It's hard, of course. It's going to be hard, but I just have to be strong and let him see that I'm being strong for him, so he can, in turn, keep his own self-confidence up.
And I believe one day, somehow, I don't know how, but someday, he's going to get through this. And he is going to be whatever he pictures in his mind. I don't know how. Only he and God will know that.
I can only imagine what it will be like when I walk